What's up guys, Victor here, and today I'm doing a Tackle Tuesday for you guys. We are at the beach, actually shark fishing, and we're killing some time, so I decided to film a Tackle Tuesday for you. Now, if you've seen the previous videos, you've seen that I've been bridling my baits a lot, so I figured I'm going to show you guys how to bridle baits, but more importantly, why I started to bridle my baits, and the theory that I have behind it as to why it should be better than just normally hooking your baits. So number one, if you guys have ever experienced this like we have, when you're paddling out your bait 150, 200, 300, even 400 yards, you got to think there's a lot of line between you and the fish, right? And the amount of tension you need to put between you and the fish in order to penetrate that hook is going to be a lot. Now, when a shark's out there and he grabs it, you don't know what's going on. That hook, no matter how deep you hook that hook can rip out of the bait actually pretty easily. And that was one of the most frustrating things for us, is sometimes you get picked up and a shark will just rip the hook right out of the bait and things just don't go your way. So that is one reason why I started bridling baits. And number two, it's also to increase your hookup rate. Like I told you, since you do need so much tension in order to hook that shark, because you guys literally have 300 yards of line of mono or braid, and there's a lot of stretch in that. So by bridling your bait, you guys are going to see that the entire hook is actually exposed, and you want as much of the hook point and the hook exposed, so when a shark does eat it, it has the maximum chance of it actually grabbing and hooking into the shark. So those are my two reasons. Number one being of the fact that I got tired of my hook just ripping out of the bait, and then number two is to try to increase my hookup ratio. So now I'm going to show you the tools you need to actually bridle your baits. So number one is going to be a rigging needle, and I'll include a link in the description box below. These are cheap. I think I got 5 for $3, and it's just a big needle with an open eye and then a needle point at the end. And then you're going to need some rigging material for your bridle. Now, you can honestly use anything. You can use mono if you want, you can use braid, you can use paracord, some Kevlar cord, anything that logically you could picture going in and out of the bait and that you could tie to your hook will and should work in theory. So we got those two, and then you just need something to cut with, and I'm gonna go get my hook and I'll be right back. Now the first step in preparing our bridle is to get our bridle material. So right here I have 50-pound braid, and what you're gonna do is, this is gonna be a lot of trial and error. I haven't been doing this that long either, but depending on the size of your bait, for this bonita right here, I'm gonna take about 14 inches and make a loop right here and then cut it. So in total I have 28 inches, and then I double it back on itself. So now I have my two 14-inch strands of my 50-pound braid. And like I said, if you guys want to use Kevlar cord, paracord, something from your sister's art box, whatever, that's fine. I don't think you have to overthink this stuff. It's just you have to make sure you use a material that's strong enough to support it. And so what I did is I just took those two strands and I made a loop, and I'm going to do another loop just so I have two closed ends of my braid now. So I have a closed end there, and then I have a closed end there. And now I'm just going to trim this right here, just so it's out of the way, but you honestly don't need to. I just like it so it's nice and organized. And now I have my open loop right there, and then my closed end right, or both my closed ends right there. Now I'm gonna take my hook, go through my braid right here, just like that. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take the other end of that braid, I'm gonna take my finger, go like this, and I'm gonna wrap this so I secure my braid onto the hook. So I'll show you again. Go like this, take my finger, and I made an artificial loop on the hook, and now I just go right through and I pull tight. So now now my braid is secured to my hook, and I'm just gonna do it one more time just so it's a stronger connection. So I did it again. So now I got that going. Now my braid is actually connected to my hook. Now here is where your needle is gonna come in. So we're gonna set that aside. Now I have my needle right here. So now I have a whole bonita. And this is where I told you guys need to experiment with the length of your braid. Because if you're using a bait like this is bonita, and as you can see, it is very mushy. I wanna go as deep in the meat with my needle as possible, because if I were to bridle my bonita right here at the top, and just stick it out, and then my braid is right here and my hook's up here, it's gonna rip out real easy. And the whole purpose of bridling, like I told you, was so that you guys have a nice secure connection to the bait and that hook is exposed. And you want to put your braid in pretty deep. I'm not gonna put it through the head here because that would never rip out, but I'm just gonna find a nice spot right around the head, right behind here, and I'm gonna go pretty far in the meat, so pretty far down the spine. And I went out the other side, and now here's a little tip that I use. So this is the first side I went through. What I'll do is I'll take my needle and I'll open this up a little bit because it's gonna make this eye go in there a lot easier. So I'll just open it up a little bit, and I'll do the exact same thing on the other side where I open it up a little bit, and you're gonna see why in just a second. Now I'm gonna take my braid end that is not attached to my hook, so this end right here, and I'm gonna go and put it in the open eye of my needle, just like that. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my needle through my bonita, and since I made that nice opening, it came out really easily. If you guys are having trouble, because this needle eye will get stuck in the bait if you don't make that opening for yourselves. So now I'm gonna remove the needle, just set it aside, stick in the sand right there, and now I take my hook point, and I'm gonna go into that other end of the loop right there, just like that. So now we're secure, but we need to finish this off. And how I'm gonna do that is, you guys can see, so there's the one end of the strand of braid, and here's the other. I'm gonna start to spin my hook in one direction, and just keep spinning it, spinning it, spinning it, spinning it, and you're gonna start to see that this braid is gonna get really tight. And keep spinning it, until you wanna stop spinning it until it gets to a point where until you just can barely get your hook. You need to move this a little bit. Until you can just barely get your hook point in underneath the braid. So you see my hook point is right there, and you see that my braid is flush against the bonita. You spin it until it's a nice tight connection to where I can do this. And now look, now my hook is secure just like that. So I went and I took my hook and I went underneath the braid and I went out the other end just like that. So now my hook is secure, and to make it even tighter, you can move your braid. You can just slide your braid along the hook body right there, so it's nice and in the middle, just like that. And this is like, I can even get this even tighter if I wanted to, but that's, like I said, it's a lot of trial and error. So you're gonna have to just go by feel, and that's where that spinning comes into play. The more you spin it, the tighter it's gonna get, and the tighter it's gonna get securely on your bait. But that will work just like that. And now you can see how this is not gonna rip out of your bait as easily as if you just had your hook in there. But when you do go to hook a shark, you have your entire hook point exposed, which you really want. That's how you're gonna hook a shark. So I think that this is definitely a superior way than the traditional, like you guys have seen me in the past, where I just hook my hook in the bait. So try it out, see if you guys like it. I've been liking it so far. We've caught 2 or 3 sandbars so far using this method, and it has worked, and I have yet to reel in my line where the bait's ripped off. Every single time I've reeled in where we haven't gotten hit, your hook is there, your bait's there, you get everything back. So it goes to show that this really is a good and secure way to anchor your hook to your bait. You see it like that? The bridle is supporting the entire weight of the bait right there. And you guys see that, how I created that gap right there? That's because I still need to go a little bit tighter. So you don't have to stop when you first do the first few spins. You can spin it again, and then it helps to slide this braid down to the hook point so you can get it underneath the skin again, and you'll see this time it'll be even more secure than the last time. See, now we're even tighter against our bridle. So that's one way to do it. I do it with braid. You can do it, like I said, if you want to do it with mono, you can do it with mono or heavy cord. You want to get your hook as tight and secure to the bait as possible. And here's another little tip too. So if I had a chunk of bait rather than a whole fish like this. Right now, the chance of my hook doubling back into my bait is actually pretty slim. But if I had something where I cut this open end and I had this entire head gone, I don't want to put my hook too close to the edge of my bait, because number one, the chance of it ripping out is going to go up, and number two, the chance of my hook doubling back into my bait, because now I have an open end, is going to go up. So if I had a chunk like this where I had two open ends, I want to put it smack dab in the middle. Don't put it on one end or the other. And don't overthink it. You know, try to put it in a spot where it's secure. Try to put it in a spot where it will rip up, will rip out if you put enough tension on it. Don't put it right through the middle of the head, because it's probably not going to rip out and you're just going to end up losing a lot of sharks. But hopefully you guys like this video. I like bridling baits. It's served me well so far. So let me know in the comment section below if you guys bridle it, or if you think that the way that I do it is not good. If you have a better way, I'm always down to learn. So make sure to comment below. Until that next Tackle Tuesday, guys, I'll see you.